here on Birds 365. The Eagle postseason begins. We got to wait later than every other team except the Kansas City Chiefs to say the postseason is underway, but it is officially underway, and the Chiefs do get to celebrate for a week and have a parade that the Eagles do not. So we here on Birds 365 will start to look forward to 2023 and a season in which Jody Mac is a little less optimistic than I am. But, we got months to go there. We do need to continue to recap what the hell happened yesterday. And I want to get your take on it. I know it's a weird thing, but I just need to hear it from you, a guy who was in the stadium as compared to me watching it on TV. I have not gone back and rewatched the game. Last night after it was over and done with, I just tuned in to the postgame show, the little JAKIB Media postgame show, the NBC Sports Philly with our buddy Barrett on. So I didn't go back and watch the play. I went back and watched one play today, only one. And that was the very last play of the game, which was completely inconsequential after Butker kicked the field goal. I give credit. Who was it who fielded the kickoff, ran 11 yards, and got down and took a knee? Was that Boston
Kenny Gainwell?
Was it Gainwell? That was actually a pretty smart play and a pretty nice play. So the Eagles were going to get the Hail Mary attempt at the end, in which Kansas City blitzed brought two. Were there two pass rushes that they had offensive linemen just standing there with no one to block whatsoever? So Jalen waited, and then he finally threw it. He only threw it about 40 yards, Johnny Mac.
Yeah,
he was trying to get it up there in the air to hopefully get a tip pass. They decided to go tip pass at the end rather than lateral. We saw that once this year, and the Commanders scored a touchdown on it. They weren't very good.
They probably should have done that because I think people are going to start talking about it. Jalen's got a strong, maybe that was the shoulder. We talked about him.
That was the question I was going to ask, because truth be told, that was a lame throw. It came up so short. I thought to myself, maybe I didn't see it. Did one of their very few pass rushers actually get a hand up on that or try he just couldn't get it more than 40 yards in the air.
I just think it was a bad throw. Maybe it came out bad. I don't think anybody asked him because, it's always interesting to me with those desperation plays. Like, people focus on them. Like, the desperation play isn't the deal. It's how you got in the desperation. I mean, you're not going to do anything with that. Granted, I know there's been Hail Marys and, Minneapolis Miracle, blah, blah, blah. There's rare instances where you pull something out of your what and you win a game. But to me, it's, how did you get in that desperation? It's not that the desperation play looked so badly, but it was a bad throw. So I don't know whether it came out bad, whether his shoulders bothering him. He has those deep ball. He's had a tremendous season as a deep ball thrower overall. He had that one to A.J. Brown. Actually, Trent McDuffie was in a great position for that, but he just lost the football, couldn't track it. And A.J. Brown did a tremendous job. But he's been good, and it's like 45 yards, 45. It's almost like the Eagles crossed the 50 shot time, and he's been great at putting the ball in the bucket, especially in those range throws. But if you're looking, for the Brett Favre, John Elway throw, Jalen's probably not your guy, but is that a big deal? I don't know.
No, but it's something that Jalen can work on. He was very good last night. I really appreciated all the Eagles and how they handled the post-game stuff. It was as disappointing a loss as you can think of. And I thought they all handled it with class, and I give them all a lot of credit, certainly Jalen and Sirianni and Bradford. We'll get to him in just a second. But he does like to talk about growing from losses and learning and using it as motivation going forward. Yeah, Jalen, work on being able to throw the ball 60 yards in the air. You're not going to use it much, but dedicate a little time to that because that ball came up well short. All right, James Bradberry. It was a weak call, John. It was a fair call, the pass and the holding penalty. You saw there was one replay that they showed. Don't know if you saw it in the press box, where you saw the jersey actually come away from the receiver Tony's body. So you knew that Bradberry had grabbed a hold of the jersey on the play. In the post-game stuff, he admitted to grabbing the jersey on the play, and he said, yeah, I held, but I thought they were going to let us play. And how many times have you said it? I've said it. Everybody said it. They could call holding on every play in the National Football League, on the line, on DBs. There is a hold on every single play. If you went back, stopped every play and reviewed it for 10 minutes, which they did a couple times yesterday in the game. Some of those reviews took forever. If you played 9-hour NFL games and reviewed every single play afterwards to find every penalty, you could find a hold on every play. They don't call it that way. At that juncture of the game, so little effect on the play. The receiver got clear. It wasn't like he grabbed him and held him and pulled him off stride. It was a weak call, but it was a fair call. It was a call that the player who got flagged admitted that he had held on the play. I know that the Eagle fans who can't come to grips with or admit that the other team was as good as they were and earned the game and deserved the game will point to this and go, oh, we got screwed. Oh, the NFL is fixed. Oh, that no one wanted to see Philadelphia win. They hate us and we don't care. What were your thoughts on the penalty on the Bradford hold?
No issue with it. None at all. I mean, once we talked to Bradberry and he said that, and he was even more, I was trying to pull up his exact quote. It was pulled the jersey, he called holding. That's what Bradberry said. I was hoping they would let it ride, but it was holding. So in other words, he wasn't saying, he was saying, I wish I got away with it, but he didn't get away. It was holding. And, the only thing I can say is if the same thing happened the other direction and the Eagles didn't get the call, Eagles fans would be incensed.
Absolutely.
And by the way, he held him twice on the play. He not only held his jersey, he also got his arm on his hip and sort of pulled. Now, Mahomes was under pressure, rare in the second half, and he was throwing that football away. So it was, from that perspective, if you start getting into the how much did it matter to the play? Yeah, probably not a lot because he's throwing the football away. However, I don't know where the receiver would have been. Maybe he would have been open. Maybe he would have saw him. Maybe he wouldn't have been throwing it away. Plus, if you're an official, you don't have that.
Right. You don't have the ability to do that.
Aware view of what's going on. I say a lot, and I give Nick, because Nick said it, same thing. He wouldn't go down that route. James himself took responsibility. Class act. You know me well enough now to know I rarely complain about officiating because there's nothing you can do about it. They're human beings. They're going to make mistakes when they do make mistakes. And this was not a mistake. But generally, when people complain about NFL officiating, generally, not always, generally, they're complaining about the rules. They're not really complaining about. That's what they're told to do. That was a penalty. I mean, that was a penalty. And the guy who it was called on admitted it was a penalty. Yep. So to me, the discussion stops there. But I know people are going to be upset by it.
And it ties into the way basketball is refereed for me. One thing that I absolutely positively can't stand is when there's a foul on a play and the referee, you can actually tell he waits to see if the ball goes in.
That's not
if he's gonna let it go, if the guy makes the shot, but if the ball falls off the rim, he feels he's got to do something. He's got to blow his whistle and give him two because he saw the foul. He knows it's a foul. It's kind of a ticky-tack foul. He'd rather not call the foul, but he doesn't want to punish the guy on a play he's fouled. So he waits to see if the ball goes in, and then he blows his whistle, and you go, "What the hell?" Either he fouled him when he was shooting, or he didn't foul him. Which is it? And he's trying to hedge the middle. that's why you couldn't blame this referee. He threw the flag. As soon as he saw the penalty, the flag came out of the pocket and he threw it. He couldn't wait to see that Mahomes was being pressured. He couldn't even get rid of the ball, that it really didn't take him out of the route that he was running. No, he saw the foul and he threw the flag. And that's the way you're supposed to do. If you're a referee, you're supposed to not only call what you see, but call what you see immediately. And the referee did see the hold. So, unfortunately, it was a hold on the play. There will be Eagle fans that say the Super Bowl was stolen from them by that call for decades to come. But truth is, that was not the case. Is that going to be the last play that James Bradberry does or doesn't make for the Eagles? We touched on this in our first segment just a little bit, and we're only going to do it for the next several months. Eagles have a lot of free agents on the defensive side of the ball, one of which is James Bradberry. He had as good a year as he had that we think somebody's going to give him a boatload of money, and we're not sure the Eagles can be able to do that if they're going to get the Jalen Hurts extension done. Was that James Bradberry's last game for the Philadelphia Eagles?
If I were a betting man, I would say it is, because James understands that, he's got probably one opportunity here to get one more big time contract because he played so well this season. And a lot of teams need corners. Arizona's going to need a corner. We're talking about Baker, that might be an interesting fit. But yeah, it's way too early to know what Howie's going to do. But and he and Jake Rosenberg, like I said, they're going to get an extension done with Jalen Hurts this offseason, but they're going to structure it to where it's not going to kick in, fully till a couple of years down the road. So, they're going to be able to make. There's certain guys they're not going to be able to keep though, and Bradberry's among the most difficult. But they have so many issues, and we're going to talk about this a lot. They have a lot of. I mean, this one thing what I'm talking about, that was part of it. I brought up that on the postgame show when I'm talking about the opportunity. Everybody had a career year. And they're coming off a career year, and that's exactly it. What do you want? I mean, you want to get paid. Chauncey wants to get paid. Bradberry wants to get paid. Javon wants to get paid. Isaac Seumalo wants to get paid. Miles Sanders wants to get paid. Every single one of them came off their best season. Every single one of them. Career year, everywhere, up and down the lineup. I haven't even gotten to TJ Edwards. And what are you going to do with Marcus Epps? Now there's, if you sign Chauncey, how do you go about it? Is Reed Blankenship the starting safety next year? If you sign Marcus, can you sign Chauncey? They got a lot of things to deal with. And there's certain people. We know TJ Edwards and Kai, both of them aren't going to be back. Presumably one is going to be back, and then is Nakobe Dean ready on the offensive line? Somebody's paying Isaac Seumalo. Do you want to pay? He's going to get Halapuli Bati money. He's probably gone. Is Cam Jurgens? If Jason Kelce comes back, it's now trending towards him coming back. Is Cam Jurgens going to be able to step in and play guard? Are we going to have that another issue where the 15th heir apparent to Jason Kelce, everybody, and then they end up playing a different position because he's so good. And then, as I mentioned, with Javon Hargrave, and forget about Linval Joseph, he's not coming back. And Dominican Sue, he's not coming back. Those guys came in ring shopping. What I'm talking about, this opportunity, this is what I'm talking about, Jody, along with the coaching staff. This group is now done. This group of this historic franchise record everywhere season is not coming back. Doesn't mean that experience you were talking about isn't going to help. You're still going to have the core group, and maybe you finish with 11 wins or 12 wins, but you're better equipped to get through the playoffs. Whatever, you might go about it a different way. But this group, the pages turned, and it's just a matter of how many are you going to lose?
And that happens every year in the National Football League. This is nothing new. Teams change. No one comes back en masse. It was a miracle last year that the entire Eagle coaching staff came back en masse. Not a change among the coaching staff. That was so irregular. It was unbelievable. This coaching staff is going to change. The players are going to change. It'll be a different team. I don't think the drop-off is going to be great. It's different. Different doesn't always equate to lesser. Sometimes different is actually better. I don't know that you can get better than 14-3 and a 3-point loss in the Super Bowl. There's only one way to go up, and the most important game is the final one, and who knows? Maybe they'll get back there. But this was a hell of a year for the Philadelphia Eagles. Certainly a disappointing finish. But yes, there are changes are coming. All right, he's John McMullen. I'm Jody McDonald. We are the Mac guys on Birds 365. Come back, talk a little bit more about yesterday's game, and then we'll get a third voice into the opinion. Our buddy Paul Domwich from 3013.com and his contribution for us on JAKIB Sports.com. Damo will join us coming up about 20 minutes from now.